Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi. I have these balls. They're like mini world and mini things, and I was just showing you I got a chair out of one of them. And I happened to slip them inside each other, and I looked at it and thought, ooh. So I went with it. So oohing definitely worked my brain. I am making a creature. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's not a frog. But wait, you'll see. So I'm using my foil to make his shape. One, to cut down on clay, and two, it's just easy and it makes it lighter as well. So you've not got this great heavy clunky thing to be playing with. So I've made his body and his head out of foil, and now I'm doing his ears. You've probably realised who I'm doing, but we'll leave you to watch. So I folded the foil several times so I could get a thickness of the ear shape, and did you notice that? Couldn't find my scissors, glaringly obviously in front of me, but I couldn't find them. So obviously this is super glue. You don't really need super glue for the ear bits, it's just the only glue I'd got in my hand, or near my hand at the time. And I'm shaping it around a little bit more just to get that shape, and what I'll do is I'll fold the flap. Yes, I said flap before anybody starts. You people. I folded it so it'd fit nicely and snugly on the head. So it does look like ears. I do have a little bit of a faux pas at the end of this when it's finished, and I am going to rectify that at some point. I forgot to put pink in his ears. So I've been looking at these pictures as reference for ages, well, all day, and I just didn't notice. It was like I was blind to pink. I don't know what happened. But anyway, when I said something to the hubby about what do you think I could make from this, he looked at me as if to say it's 2 pieces of plastic. So then I said, do you think this would look good as? And he was like, yes, that'll be mine when you've done it. Hadn't even started. It's now proudly on his desk, staring at me, because he's stolen it. Because he's a huge fan. So there's that. I stuck some eyes on. I've got a stash of plastic eyes. I don't remember where I got them from. I think possibly Amazon. I think. But don't quote me on that one. And they come in handy, very handy. And you'll notice I'll cover these eyes up. That's okay, because I'm going to do surgery. So if anybody's got an eye thing, which, believe it or not, I have, and I still did it, I am going to be performing surgery on his eyes. I will be gentle, I promise. I'm covering the base because it's nasty looking. And, well, you don't need to see the foil. That's just weird. And I'm trying to put some detail in, and here comes the surgery. So look, nice and gentle. Didn't poke his eyes out, didn't scratch the glass, plastic, whatever it is, resin. And I do faff for his eyes quite a lot. And at some point, I'm looking at this and thinking, this looks like a gremlin. This looks like a gremlin. How am I going to make this stop looking like a gremlin? And then my head went, oh, gremlin. So, that might be a future project. Making mogwai. I do like mogwai. Really? Hi, Salvi. My voice went funny when I tried to do that. I can usually do it much better than that. I'll have to put his nose on, because, well, he has got a nose. But it's a very little cute button nose, so I'm building up on that one. And you've seen I've just chucked the waist on his chest, but I'm going to use that for his nose. So it's like a little cute button nose, and then I build it up into the head. And there's going to be lots of little bits of clay attached, because I'm doing this all in one piece. I'm not cooking it in one go, in several goes, because I realised at this point I was running out of time. and nobody's got time to be waiting for things to cook. Even if it is the air fryer and it's like super speedy, I just wanted to get it done. So this was done one night, the whole making of him, and the rest was the next day. So it took me 2 days really to actually create him and his pod, crib, pushchair, pram, whatever you want to call it. My brain just can't remember. And I stuck it on a wood round to give it something to, and some foil to give it something to stand on. And I wasn't going to leave it on there permanently, but when I did it, I'm like, I like that. It looks like it's on a crater. So yeah, that worked well. And I'm putting his eyebrows on. His eyebrows. But his head still wants building up because he's not quite. It's too flat. It's too mogwai looking. I mean, look. And then I look at his lips and I'm thinking, E.T. But then, if you think about it, it was all the same group that did it. The Hensons, or somebody that worked with the Hensons that did Star Wars, E.T., Gremlins, all the puppetry type stuff was either Hensons or people that had worked with the Hensons. So you can understand why they all look very similar. I mean, don't get me started on Henson stuff because, well, he is my favourite of all creators. He was a genius. Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, there's just all sorts. Even To Catch a Yeti, if I can remember rightly, they made the Baby Yeti. That was a Meatloaf film. If you've not watched it, try and find it. It's daft. It's great. I'm a big kid when it comes to films like that. So I feel that his cheeks aren't cheeky enough. Cheeky enough. Oh, good grief. I do entertain myself sometimes. Ah, dear. So I'll put some more clay on just to build it up a little bit and make it so it looks a bit more puffy around his eyes. And his mouth was an extra piece of clay that just went and attached on the front, and then just put a line with a slit with a knife. Now this is going to be a scarf bit. I think I should really have made it a little bit longer, but it works. And I'm just rounding off the edge so it looks like it's the collar of his coat, because he wears his little beige coat with furry trim. And the first attempt at furring this up, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. So I smoothed it back out and I used something else to make the dimply feel, the dimply texture. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I think I needed to make the scarf just that tad longer. But then you're not really going to see it anyway, because that's where the magic's going to be. That's where he ties in with the Froggy Friday theme. Because he's going to be trying to eat a frog. Because Grogu loves frogs. He likes munching on frogs. And yeah, he's going to have one hanging out his mouth. It looks cute. But I do think, and I'm going to toot my own horn for a change, the pictures don't do him justice. They really don't. Because when you've got it in your hand in natural light, I should have done it outside. That would have made more sense. Then you can see all his detail, you can see his cheeky face, you can see the frog feet and everything. Whereas the photos seem a bit there. But maybe it's just me picking at it again. Because I'm looking at it now thinking, you forgot that pink. Get that pink in his ears. I mean, it's not a big issue, but it's staring at me and I know it's wrong. Now I'm doing his arms, and you can see they look horrendously long. But that will be soon fixed. I'm just sticking it to itself at the minute to make sure that it's not going to just drop off. and I'm having to be really careful not to smush the details I've already put in. And it's a very simple trick to make his arm shorter. Just push it up, then it gives you wrinkles. Now, I could have used foil and clay, but again, timing, I was running out of time. And I do think it actually looks better with the clay arms. And I'm just putting round his cuff, just putting his cuffs on, and putting a little bit more detail of like wrinkles and just movement in his jacket. And that's me checking to make sure he actually fits in. And thankfully he did. And now I'm putting his hands on. I wasn't going to put hands on because I wasn't sure if it was going to fit and I was going to get it stuck inside. But I thought I'd just put the hint of a hand, because his hands are quite easy to create compared to a human, but you don't really see them, so it doesn't matter. So I'm using the end of a ball stylus to make the dimply marks on his collar, and that worked out a lot better. And I also use a pokey tool to create texture on his head, like hair, because he's got like these little fine baby hairs on his head. But with clay, if you do it with the clay, it's going to snap. And I really did not want to be sticking hair to his head at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I just texturised it instead. And this is where I'm saying, now for the frog, because I've opened his mouth a little bit more. Just so he's got room for a frog. A little snack, you know. Now, right now it looks like a tongue hanging out his mouth. So it looks ridiculous. But I will be adding legs. That thing that's just shown up is to say subscribe. So if you're on your TV, it'll show you that, and you can just take a photo and you can subscribe that way. It's dead easy. Well, I think it is, and I'm a bit of a technophobe sometimes. I've got his legs on, and I just need to shape his bum a little bit more. And yes, I am saying little. I mean to say little, but my brain just says little because I'm a child. And I'm putting these little tootsies on now, and you can see I'm cutting tiny little blobs. And instead of putting little balls on the end of his feet, I just go in with a bit of a poke on the end just to make it look like flattened circles. And then he's going to be baked, wrapped in foil, a lot of foil, just so he doesn't get too cooked. But you know what? You know, since I've been using the air fryer to cook my polymer clay in, I haven't burnt anything. Isn't that good? And yes, I know people kept saying, have a timer, do this, do that, and I'm like, I don't remember. And so if I put it in the air fryer, it doesn't matter if I forget that it's there, it switches itself off. And then when I remember it's actually stuck in the air fryer, which could be hours later, then I go and get it out and it's all nice and cool and lovely. So it's a win-win for me. So now I'm putting cardboard around the plastic, and I'm using super glue. I really should have scuffed up the plastic so things stuck properly first time instead of having to keep holding them and faffing about. So this is going to be his pram. I'm going to say pram because he's a baby and he's in it, so why not? And I'm adding little details here and there, and I rounded the cardboard just by putting some pressure on it and pulling tight so it fits more snug. Now it doesn't matter about the lines because they'll mostly be covered up with other bits and bobs that I'm going to stick onto it. Now my husband said, isn't his crib white? And I said, actually it's supposed to be cream, and in some shots it looks very grey and dirty looking. So I went with the grey. Yeah. yeah, because it's like, for me, this image is the one where it's night time, so you don't get much light. So cream or white would be darker, but not bright white unless a light's shining on them. That's my excuse, and I am sticking to that. But yeah, the ears. I'm still piping on about the ears. They're bugging me. I'm going to have to get off this video and go and finish it off. Because now I'm thinking that's not finished. So it's winding me. And these little panels are a different colour to the actual whole pram. So I will also be using, oh my god, paper mache. That's it. Paper mache to stick around everywhere, so then I can paint it. Because as soon as you paint plastic, it's just going to be like, no, not happening. I've already spray painted him dark green. Now, my husband saw him on the table outside cooking in the sun and went, why is he that green? That's not the green he's supposed to be. And I'm like, are you making this or am I making this? He's like, well, why is he that green? I went, that's his first layer. That's so you can pick out any details, and also it helps to be able to put on a coat of paint so it doesn't soak straight into your polymer. I mean, I don't usually spray paint, I usually whack a coat of black, but I wanted the green to come seeping through the paint. And that makes sense in my head, I'm sure it does. So I'm painting the whole head, and I think I do paint the frog at this point in green. Do I? No, I don't. And I'm now doing his jacket, and this colour I didn't like to start off with, basically because of the green underneath. It wasn't creamy beigey enough for me, and I wasn't sure if I was going to keep this colour or not. I'm going to tell you now, I don't. I definitely don't keep that colour. I make it a bit more creamy and rich, but the first coat actually helped cover up the green. So it was a win-win really. So yeah, I'm going in with the next layer and putting in some little bits of brown into the cuffs and the collar, just to give it a little bit more detail and to pick it out against the rest. And my voice is going, I do apologise. And I'm thinking, maybe it needs to be a bit darker. So I add just a touch of dark brown, just to make it pop a little bit more. And it helps. I still don't think it's quite right, but it shows up against the inside of the pod, which is what I was looking for. I didn't want his collar just to disappear into the pod. The pram, whatever it's called. And I painted the base because it looks a mess. But again, you're not going to see the base. And I kept catching the blooming hands of the paint, so I'd just redo the paint on the hands. It being a bit messy. And half the time, I'm not even in shot. It's ridiculous. But the frog, I like the frog. I like the colour of the frog. As far as I could see on the pictures, he could have either been blue, could have either been green. I'm not quite sure because I couldn't quite tell. And sometimes your computer screen doesn't always give you the true colour. I mean, sometimes we watch these videos and think, that don't look pink. It looks more this or more that. And it's because your settings are different compared to somebody else's. And I made his jacket a bit more creamy coloured because it just wasn't right for me. So yeah, it looks a lot better now. And I put a little bit of detail in using the metal bit off a knife. It didn't really show up much until I put a bit of darker on it. Something a bit darker on it. but I only wanted the hint of it anyway. And now I'm looking at it again. I wonder if I should have just gone over with a darker wash and then wiped. I usually do. I don't know why I didn't this time. Oh God, I really need to do them ears so I can just leave it alone. Because it's making me think of the next thing I should be doing, when really, it is fine. But my brain's not working like that. So now I'm going to paint the frog. And I've got these off, I think, Amazon, these paints. And they're nice. Barely touched them. Barely used a drop from them. You don't need a lot. But I do think that if you do get any of these paints, you have to have a layer of paint underneath first, so then they show up better. Because if you just paint with them on their own, they're quite translucent. That's the word I'm looking for? Yes, it is. See-through, translucent, yes. Oh dear. But then I put some more blue on and just did little streaks, and then I went in with some black. Was it black or was it darker colour? No, I think it was black, just to give that striped effect. But now I want his eyes to be glossy, and in some pictures his eyes are black, and in some pictures his eyes are brown. So I kept them with brown and left just a little bit of white. If I remember rightly, his eyes go black when he's using his powers. I'm sure that's what I watched. I've only watched it once, so my brain's like, are you making that up? So, if you know, then please let me know. I just want to say thank you to all my members, my subscribers, anybody that watches. Really appreciate you a huge deal. I recently got to 800. I think I'm now 808 possibly, and hopefully soon be to 1,000. And subscribing and liking really helps the channel. If you want to become a member, there is a join button, and it's $2.99 a month, and you get to see exclusive pictures, videos that no one's seen before. You get first chance to look at them. I'm still tweaking out the eeky bits, because I'm, like I said, this is second month now, and I'm still don't really roughly know what I'm doing. But you get to have an input on the channel too, what you'd like to see, what you'd like me to do. Do you like me talking? Do you not like me talking? There's all these things that I'm going to be asking along the way. So you get to be involved in the GERTCREATES. And there it is, look, GERTCREATES. But if you can't do that, there is a buy me a coffee or an Amazon list to send me stuff. And if you can't do that, the liking and the thumbs up, the liking and subscribing, the thumbs up things actually is free, and it does boost the channel greatly. So whatever you can do to help me keep going, because everything will be put back into the channel, then thank you very much. I will appreciate it a huge deal. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Shadows light the scene. Goth unicorn with a blackened wing. Happy she dances under moonlit nights, creating beauty, spurring on delight. Her hooves step softly to the softest bells, crafting wonders in her secret spell.